Take one.
Take one.
Hopefully, we do this in one take.
Yeah.
Can we make that happen?
I think so.
To Insight TV. I'm Shayna.
And my name is Aliya.
And we are here to educate, encourage, and empower you to be a better steward of your God-given resources. Today's episode, we're going to focus on taking the emotion out of investing. Now, if you have been following the stock market this particular week, I don't know when you're watching this video, but this week, the S&P 500 has been down about 3%.
Yeah.
So from Monday to just before we recorded this, it was about a 3% drop. And for a lot of people, that means that they were panicking. That means that they think the sky's falling, they think they're just losing money left and right, particularly if you're a new investor. How do you think you responded to? Would you consider yourself a new investor?
I would actually consider myself a fairly new investor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was a little bit nervous about it. Because there was one point where I could have sold the stock at a higher percentage, and now it's decreasing. So I was thinking, maybe I should get out of this stock, like a lot of people. And you surely talked me out of it.
I did.
She talked me down, guys.
I had to talk her off the ledge.
Yeah.
Because, and that happens to a lot of people, right? We're emotionally tied to our money.
Very emotional. Because I thought I could have made more money in this downward slope, but that was not a good idea.
No.
And we're going to tell you why that wasn't a good idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons why we should probably not make emotional decisions when it comes to money. We're going to go over 4 of those reasons today. When it comes to investing, you have to make logical decisions.
Yeah.
Emotional decisions will actually result in you losing more money. So let's get into it. Right? Reason number 1. You gotta set a goal. What is this money for? That determines your time frame. So if you say, I'm investing this money because in 5 years I want to do X, Y, Z. That means you have 5 years before you actually need the money. That gives you a framework from which to work. Then you also say, all right, well, then if I don't need the money today, does it matter what the price is today? Let's say I have a longer term goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people are investing for long term, like retirement. So if you have 20 years before you need the money, does it matter what the stock market is doing today?
No, it wouldn't.
I don't need the money for 20 years.
20 years.
So what is my objective? I need to just build up as big of a portfolio as I can over this 20-year time frame so that when I need the money, I have more money than I hopefully will need. But if the market goes down, I don't actually care today, right?
Right.
It's not my market. It's not my price. My clue in that moment could be to buy more. Because my goal is to accumulate shares.
Yeah, this is really good stuff.
To accumulate shares. So if
you really want to like double down on it.
Yeah, if you still believe that this is a good company or that this is a good investment, then yeah, put more money in. Have some cash on the side ready when you see it go down to say, oh, you know what? I want to buy more. It's on sale. We don't do this.
On sale.
We don't do this with stocks the way we do with other things. Like, think of your favorite thing to buy. A pair of Jordans, an outfit that you like, a pair of shoes, some jewelry. If it went on sale 2 for 1, would you buy more?
I would, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Same attitude could be argued that you could have that with stock, that you can buy more when it goes down if you don't need the money right away or have a good amount of time before you need it. And typically, you don't want to put any money in the market that you need within the next 3 to 5 years. So if you can't wait 3 to 5 years before you need this money, don't put it in the market. It's too volatile. it may not be there when you need it. So set a goal for this money. That is number one. Tolerance is important, and this is both on the high end and low end. Risk tolerance simply means what is your tolerance level for the amount of risk you're willing to accept for your investment. For example, if you put in $1,000 into the market and you see it drop 20%, what do you think you're most likely to do? Hold it, so do nothing, buy more, or sell?
From the logic you just told me, it makes it seem like I should want to buy some more if I can. If I believe in the company, if I think it's going to go back up.
Do you think it's going to go back up?
So 20% down, it's not a 50% discount, but it will give me some room to buy stock at a lower price than I initially bought it for.
Okay, so you saw your $1,000 investment is now $800. What if it's $600? 40% drop.
It's like, then still from that logic, the stock is now 40% off.
Oh, okay.
So I think that if I believed in the company enough, that would be that opportunity where I could buy low.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm listening.
Now she says that now.
That's taking the emotion out of it.
Right.
So
because you just heard me say the other thing.
Right.
But prior to that,
so you should have asked me that first.
Now, of course, you're watching this video right now, so maybe you're thinking the same thing.
What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I would hold.
Yeah.
I would hold or buy more.
Okay.
And right now, I'm actually sitting on like 2 investments that the price is about 20 to 30% below where I bought it. I still think it's a good company. I still think it's a good long-term holding.
Yeah.
So I'm actually buying more of that investment.
She's taking her own advice.
I'm trying to load up on shares because at some point, I do think that this stock will explode. And at that point, I want to own as many shares as I can of this stock. So even in the short term, if it's taking this dip, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't need the money for 20 years. So I can keep buying more. Because in 20 years, I anticipate that this is actually going to be a really good investment. But that's my tolerance for risk. Some people can't take that. Some people have a threshold for which they say, well, if this goes down even 10%, I'm panicking.
Yeah.
You have to know your own threshold for where you would want to sell it, where you say, all right, I'm out of here. This has reached my tolerance level. And for most investors who have a plan, you set those parameters up front to say, I know up front that if this hits 25% down, then I got to get out. So let's say I have a portfolio of mutual funds, and I have some in large companies, small companies, mid-sized companies, international companies. I put a certain percent in each. Let's, for the sake of argument, say 25% in each of those 4 categories. But large companies have a breakout year, and my 25% is now 35% of my portfolio. But I only wanted it at 25%. But then the rest of it, one of the others, let's say international, went down 10%. So that went up 10% and international went down 10%. What do you do?
Balance it back out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point number 4, which is to rebalance your portfolio.
Yeah.
So you sell what's high and has gotten off of that percentage that you earmarked this money for, and buy what has dipped below. So when you do that, you're capturing the gains, so you hit your high mark, and you're buying low for the other thing.
That's so exciting. You're winning on both spectrums.
But if you never had a plan up front, you don't know when to do that. You don't know when you needed to right size your position to say, wow, this one company's really exploded, or this one asset class has really exploded. What do I do? Well, right size it to where you wanted it to be in the first place, and just take advantage of the opportunity to buy what's low. So that's how you actually have a plan, and you take some of the emotion out of the investing because you set the parameters up front. Now, realistically,
Mm.
implementing that is hard on your own.
Yeah.
You have to be very disciplined to do it by yourself. And this is where working with a professional might help.
That's true because, like you just said, if it was up 20% or 30%, 40%, whatever, and you still weren't at that 20 years, it could be very tempting to
Right.
sell it. It could be.
And you might make the
And
wrong
then not
decision.
even figure out if you're balanced or not. To even understand what that even means.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I know they've made investing a little easier now. You've got apps, you can just do it on your phone. A lot of times there's not a lot of strategy in doing it that way.
Right.
So people are just buying stock just to be buying stock. But you don't know when you are going to get out. You have no exit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have a particular purpose for this money. So it's just money that's there. So it ends up just being stuff you play with, right?
Yeah.
And then you make all of these emotional decisions with whether or not you should get out, instead of giving your money some purpose up front. So,
Amen.
book plug.
Money on purpose. So what does Scripture say about it?
Glad you asked.
Yeah.
What does Scripture say? Does Scripture have anything to do with investing? Yes.
Yes.
There's lots of Scripture about investing, but one in particular, in this particular category, I wanted to point out, and that's Proverbs 21:5. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." So
That's it right there.
that's it right there. So if you make
Move too
haste
fast.
move too fast, too emotional,
You're gonna be full.
knee-jerk reactions, that's kind of a recipe for poverty. But if you have a diligent plan that you can put into place, it'll lead surely to abundance.
Yeah.
We will see you next time on the next episode of
Insight TV.